everybody ready? Yeah! All right, now here we go. A one, a two, a one,
Let's get it on. That's it. That's all. Let's get it on, baby. It's playoff time on the Get Sunday Covered podcast. It is Wednesday, December 11th. Brandon, Jordan, and Cody here to talk about that is to come. Guys, how'd we do? Give me a quick breakdown. Tell me about the leagues you made it in, the leagues you didn't. Maybe some brief thoughts on those respective teams. How we doing, fellas?
I'm doing good. I'm still getting over this sickness I have, but
Welcome back, Jordan. Good to have you back.
yeah, glad to be back.
You sound like a predator, man.
Dude, my voice, man, I'm telling you, like it's like a 3-day span there where like the only way I could talk is if I whisper. It was kind of a thing where you were almost like going through puberty and sick at the same time, like your voice was cracking and like you couldn't like complete words. So it was tough, but I'm feeling better. Feeling pretty good about fantasy too. I have the number one seed in GSC main league, so I have a bye. It's the first time I've ever had a bye. I feel really good about my team in that league. I've made multiple trades this year, and I don't know if I hurt or helped my team, but I feel good. Like we were talking before we came on about like it's kind of one of those things where it's like I'm kind of at a position where it's like, man, I don't know who to start. Like I have quality guys on my bench, and it's just it's a good problem to have. So I feel a lot better in that league than I do my own league. I'm the 6th seed in my league going up against the number 3 seed. I was actually seeing comments. I sent you a picture about this, Cody. I thought it was a good explanation of it that he has Josh Allen, and I do not want to go through the Josh Allen experience this next week. So he also has Jalen Hurts. So hopefully he plays the wrong guy against me this week, and my team has another big week like we did this week, and we can get an upset and move on to the playoffs. But that's what it's all about, right? Just making the playoffs and hope for the best at that point.
Just give yourself a chance, man. Yeah, big shout out to you, man. I would expect nothing less. I am stoked for you, but I am coming for you. So I'm hopeful that I can at least give you a challenge. But that's good shit, man. Brandon, what about you? I feel like you probably have a little bit more to report than Jordan did.
Yeah, so of my 7 leagues, I made 6 of them for playoffs. 2 leagues, I'm the 6th seed, one of which is the main. 2 leagues, I'm a 3 seed. 1 seed, I'm the 4 seed, and then in the Mountain West, I got the 2 seed. So in my own kind of division, I'm happy to have that bye this week. Definitely those 6 seed games those 3v6s are going to be some battles for sure. But yeah,
a little foreshadowing there, bud.
A little, just a smidge.
A little foreshadowing. Okay. All right.
I mean, all in all, the one league I didn't make playoffs in was a best ball league. So I got plagued with injuries pretty bad in that league. So
I didn't know you got duped in best ball.
Yeah, I had some weeks where I had like 3 games where I lost by like less than 5 points. So I got pretty screwed in that league. Injuries really killed me. And then, I drafted Hollywood Brown and didn't even get him for a single game this season. So, kind of got screwed there.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, but all in
What's
all,
worse, him or Nick Chubb?
oof.
I mean, Hollywood Brown was waived today. So no, excuse me,
Oh,
not
that
Hollywood
was
Brown.
Kadarius.
Kadarius Toney
There's
was,
Tony,
yeah, he was waived.
Tennessee, irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no one
pretty
wants
much.
him anyway. But yeah, no, I mean, I can't be mad making playoffs in all the leagues where I'm able to actually kind of control my team's destiny. So I'm satisfied with that.
Good shit, man. Good shit. You
What about
guys,
you?
obviously Jordan, uh, not terrible, not great. I've got the 1 seed in 2 of my leagues. Only one of them matters. I've got a 3 seed, a 4 seed, an 8 seed, and I was eliminated in 3 of them. But I'll go into the first round of the playoffs with some positivity. I won our second chance survivor league, so I'll put that in my pocket and rub it like a little rabbit's foot, I suppose.
I
I'm gonna
hope
need some
that
help,
luck
man.
runs out real quick.
Hey, dude, I'm gonna need some help. I do know that. But the 2 leagues that I have the 1 seed in, I'm destroying everybody in points for. So I don't know. Either I did something really right or everybody else is just not on par. But it is it is a little nerve-wracking going into playoffs, and I'm sure you guys can relate, and I'm sure you guys that are listening can relate. It doesn't really matter what seed you are. Brandon, I think you may be able to argue that a little later, but as long as you make it into the playoff bracket, you have a chance, right? And here's what I want to talk about with you guys today. Let's go over some players that scare you coming in to fantasy playoffs. And the reason I bring this up, let's talk about Josh Allen this last weekend, dude. The most points in I don't know how long. How long has it been? Like maybe ever? Fantasy points. 3 rushing touchdowns, three
No,
passing touchdowns. Dude went off. If you had Josh Allen and you lost, I feel real bad for you. And if you have Josh Allen going into the playoffs, I'm real scared of you. But the reason I bring this up is because this is the part of the year where I start freaking out about obviously matchups and the start sit situation, but are some of these big like huge point scorers for your teams, are they going to start, you know, toning it back, or are they still playing for incentives, etc.? Like you look at some of the division winners and the teams that are, officially out of it. How do you guys feel about players that scare you for fantasy playoffs?
so do you mean as far as like with Josh Allen, am I scared to play him? Or is it
No,
like,
I mean
yeah,
Like
as
if you
far
have
as
stock
like
of Josh
players
Allen, are
that
you
you
scared?
have on your team.
or say that one more time, excuse me.
So if you have some of these players that are pocketing you huge points up until this point,
Yeah. You're worried about
we've
them.
got 3 weeks. We've got 3 weeks to get through. Are you confident in these guys to continue to produce the way that they are? Or are you a little bit nervous that maybe, just maybe, they
I
tone it back? Like look at some of the division winners. Josh Allen, for prime example.
I
Is
I
he
don't think
going to keep, you know, throwing the rock, or is he going to tone it back because they already won the division and they're in?
I I at least for Josh Allen, for me, I think he's going for an MVP. He's going for a special season. So the type of player he is, I don't think he's throwing it back. If I had Josh Allen right now, I would trade Josh Allen for Lamar Jackson right now for, and I'd throw Zay Flowers with it to get Josh Allen the way he's playing right now. I think he's going to put the Bills on his back, and I mean I feel like it's crazy. Like to even talk about him having that type of game and they lose, that's a scary thing. They have a game like that and you lose. That's what Yeah, obviously he would prefer the win, but it's a huge game for him. I think Josh Allen's one of those players that's gonna turn it up. I feel like the guy on his team that you might be hurting if you got James Cook. I feel like Josh Allen obviously took away from James Cook big time this past weekend. And I think that's only going to continue. I think they're just realizing Josh Allen is the man. Just give the ball and keep the ball in his hands. Let him decide. I don't, there's other guys you could be worried about. Travis Kelce, I think he's still consistent. He's not getting those big fantasy point games like he has because of Noah Gray. And I think the Chiefs offense, I mean, the Chiefs are winning ugly games, man. They're a win's a win. This isn't the 2020, 2021 Chiefs when Mahomes was putting up between 40 and 50 touchdowns. I don't know. And then on the flip side of that, what do some of these guys you like look at like Pacheco, he coming back from injury. I don't feel like he's done much since he's come back from injury, but that falls back once again. I just feel in the Chiefs, they're not playing offensively too well right now. I don't know. You got, the guys on Detroit, two running backs. I don't know if I was talking with you, Cody, about this. I think I was talking with Rob. Because, obviously if you have Gibbs or Montgomery, one or the other, you wish the other guy gets hurt or you don't want him to play. Like you want something to happen where your guy's the main guy. But I was even telling Rob, I said, if I had both Detroit running backs on my team for some reason, I'm starting them every week. Like at this point, with how Detroit is, how they run the ball and their offensiveness with their team. Same thing. I don't think Dan Campbell's, I think if anything with some of these teams, it's why fantasy, if your championship game should be the week before the final week in case teams do rest players. So I think all these teams will be playing up until that point, and then maybe the last week of the season. Obviously, you might be worried with guys sitting and stuff like that, but I think for the most part, man, this year, I think teams are still battling it out. Especially with the Bills and the Steelers, like they still have a chance at that 1 seed if Kansas City falters down here at the end. So some of these teams are still playing. Baltimore trying to get the division over Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I feel like I'm playing everyone with full confidence. A lot of these games coming down at the end are division games too.
So nothing's changed for you. Like you got these guys on your lineup. You're just going to keep playing them.
Yeah, I'm going to keep rolling them. There might be the exception, where whatever someone gets injured. For instance, the San Francisco, they lost both their running backs with CMC and
Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason, thank you. And that Garendo kid came in, played awesome. Then he went down. Now Patrick Taylor, I just think anyone who's running in that offense is going to do good. So maybe a situation like that where you have a team where someone gets injured, a Zach Charbonnet type thing, and he's on waivers. Like maybe I'm going to plug and play him over someone just because I know he's going to get the ball so much. But other than that, no, I'm rolling with the guys I rolled with all year and the guys who got me here.
It's Brandon, I'll let you go here in just a second, but I just wanted to chime in. Like, it's funny that you say that, like, well, like maybe he's available on waivers. I wish I played in a league where some of these guys were available on waivers because
seriously,
I listened to Fantasy Football Today and the Fantasy Footballers and stuff like that. And for our leagues, especially the ones that I play in with you two, no chance. Like these guys have been owned for or rostered for a couple of weeks at least. I'm looking at our waiver wire tonight and I'm like, I don't really have anybody that I'd rather give up for the guys that are on the waiver wire right now. Like I kind of just have to roll with it. But it's interesting that you bring that up. Brandon, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think all in all, I'm okay with everyone right now, week 15 and 16. I think the question is, where do things line up week 17 in terms of, okay, does Detroit lock up the NFC number 1 seed? because the Eagles are right behind them. And you also have Minnesota right on their tail too.
Green
Um,
Bay, 3 games back.
yeah, I mean that's going to be the question if you have any Lions players. Um, then you're looking at the AFC. Yeah, Kansas City's 2 games up on Buffalo right now. Kansas City loses a game,
And Pittsburgh.
makes things interesting. In those terms for that 1 seed. So I think it's going to come down to at least probably the end of week 17, seeing where kind of these guys are. I don't think anyone's really going to rest until week 18, which is normal as usual. Plus, I don't think as a player you want to take a rest week 17 and week 18 because then that scares me going into actual NFL playoffs because if you're not playing for a month, I don't know, man. I just I don't think it's needed. And I mean, if I'm someone like Kansas City, I'm playing everyone at least till week 18 for the end of the first half because you're gonna have a bye week. So you're gonna not play your team week 18 and your starters week 18, and then you're gonna have a bye week. So you're gonna have 3 weeks of rest. I don't know, man. I think everyone's
That's a
going
really
to
good point.
play, and I think things will be just fine, all in fantasy.
I think that's a great point, and it's kind of interesting to me when you think about everything that you just said, plus like player incentives,
Yeah,
right? Like I wish I was a little bit more educated on that, but I know a lot of these guys are, playing for, a couple $1 million more if they hit these certain incentives, and that gives me, I guess, hope. But at the same time, I'm like, shit, man. Like if you've got players like, marquee players that are really in this, and you're risking them getting injured going into the playoffs, like I overanalyze this. That's the story I'm really trying to tell right now, and I think that's honestly my crutch when it comes to fantasy football is when it gets to this point. I really start to overanalyze it because I get scared of some of these things like this. Like
because your
I look
team
at the
year after
Bengals.
year fumbles the bag.
Okay, you fumbles the bag. I didn't need that, Brandon. Thanks. You're right. It does, and I think that's part of it. That's what I'm saying. Like I get scared of some of these players, and if I'm being honest, I think rightfully so. Like I look at some of these guys that are essentially out of it, right? Um, Speaking as a Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers manager, I'm terrified, dude. They're not going to get me to the championship. And I say that knowing what's at risk. But what am I supposed to do at this point? You know what I mean? Like I had a couple of different trade offers for Brock Bowers throughout the season. I said, absolutely not. Jordan, what did I tell you? I'm going to ride Brock Bowers
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
glad I didn't trade
championship.
him to you.
Now
I
he's
wish you
got a
did.
third string quarterback throwing to him. So does
You-
Jacoby Myers. They've gotten me through the last few weeks. They got me the 3 seed.
How do you sit him? You don't sit him. You're not sit.
You
You can't.
can't.
There's
You
no
That's
can't.
way
my
to
point.
perform. Like, I mean, Michael Mayer outperformed him last week, but yeah, you just can't. Yeah, it's
That's what I'm saying. This is where I start to overanalyze everything. Like, who am I going to pick up on the waiver wire for Brock Bowers? Like, there's nobody. Look at our league. Jake Ferguson, Dalton Kincaid, Hunter Henry, maybe.
the good thing about
I'd rather take the upside of Bowers.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
and usually with backups, they're always looking for short passes and usually going to a tight end or a running back for a dump out. So
right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you get to this point in the season, and I just wish I could be on the fly, a fly on the wall for some of these teams and understand exactly what they're doing is, can we get this guy his incentive? Do we tone this guy back because we don't want him hurt for next season? You know what I mean? God forbid they go out next week against the Bucks, or excuse me, the Falcons. Brock Bowers tears his ACL. He's going to miss 8 weeks next year, 9 weeks next year.
But you ain't
Why
shutting
would
it
they
down.
do that?
You're not shutting guys down at this point in the season if you're out of it. You're still a professional team. You still want to win games. Like,
I mean, I hope so.
yeah, these guys do have incentives. I mean, I look at Saquon Barkley. He wants to break the all-time record, right? I get
Yep.
it. There's one more game, but you want to break that record. Like, that's what Nick Sirianni's type of coach. He's going to want him to break that record. They love running the ball. Like, I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you saw that stat. The Eagles were first in rushing in the NFL, and they're like 30th in the NFL in passing. It's like it's complete opposites. So it's, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about guys being sat. Your situation, I'm playing Bowers. I'm probably playing Myers too. I mean, that Riddler kid, I don't have any faith in him. I think Aiden O'Connell's bad, and I think this kid is like 10 times worse than Aiden O'Connell. So it's
Don't say that.
it's
Stop.
it's not good. Like, I mean, we can go back to whatever it was, like episode 3, when I was so hyped on Zamir White. Like, this all goes back to Zamir White. Every podcast goes
Right.
back to Zamir White and the Raiders about how terrible this season is. Like, Brock Bowers is some sort of light in the desert there. So, yeah, you don't sit him. Hard to sit Myers. I mean, some of these losing teams, man, the Bengals, like, they still have an outside chance. If they win out, they need some teams to lose. They could still make it, which is embarrassing. Like, look at that offense, man. Jamar Chase is the number 1 wide receiver. Burrow's got to be a top 5 QB. Burrow would probably be an MVP candidate if the Bengals record was flipped.
Honestly,
I don't know, but yeah, you're not sitting Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase going in the playoffs for no reason. Like, I don't see that happening. Same with the Browns. But I don't know if you guys look at the schedule, man. I don't know if it's like this every year, but a lot of these games coming down at the end are all divisional games. Like, there's maybe one game in there where it's like not a divisional opponent. So it's like, I'm scared with Lamar. I think it's week 16 or 17. 17, they played the Steelers. Like, I could be in the championship with Lamar Jackson playing against the Steelers, or do I play Caleb Williams? And I think he's playing.
you don't play Caleb Williams, I'll tell you that.
Hey, he outscored Lamar 2 weeks ago. I don't know. So it's one of those things where maybe you look at the matchup too, but some of these guys you're playing no matter what. Jets, I think they're in the same boat. Aaron Rodgers wants to play. He looks like he wants to win just because that he wants to. It's not happening on the field. Devontae Adams had a great game for me last week. Garrett Hall had a great game. So dudes are still putting up numbers on these losing teams. So I got no other options in my other league. So you just got to ride with some of these guys.
Yeah. How do you? So you mentioned at the top of the show, Jordan, that you've got a lot of options on your bench, which is great for you because I don't. So
Seriously.
when it comes down to this, how much do you invest into like the matchup? And are you considering any of that? Are you just going based off of projections? I guess this question is for both of you, honestly, since we're all in the playoffs in most of our leagues. How do you make that determination?
I don't know. I'm usually never really looking at projections. Maybe the one thing that might sway me a little bit is if one of these games in Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Buffalo, whatever, like
Weather.
the weather's just going to be terrible.
Yeah.
That would definitely influence me. If I had a receiver or something, if I had a running back, obviously I'd probably still play the running back because the running game would be heavy. But as I was just talking about, like, I am kind of scared with Lamar Obviously, me being a Steelers fan, Lamar has struggled mightily against the Steelers for some reason. So that might play in, but it comes back to one of those things, like you were saying, like you're looking at the waivers, like who are you going to pick up? Who am I going to pick up and play over Lamar Jackson? And Lamar puts up 35
Right.
against Pittsburgh, So it's just like, I just think you just have to play the upside on these guys to where, the guys that you've been playing all year that have been getting you these points. Obviously, you have weeks where you start the wrong guy. The guy on the bench puts up 20, and the guy you played puts up 7. It's just one of those things. I don't know. I said I don't really look into matchups too much, especially divisional games. Man, I feel like they could be low scores, high scores, or kind of just middle of the road game. But I don't know. It's just, I'm sure you guys do the same thing. Pretty much anyone that plays fantasy is, looking at stuff Sunday morning before the game starts, seeing what weather is, seeing how players are, if they had any type of injury report, and then just going with your feel. I don't know. It's kind of how I go. Just look at it and hope you made the right decision at the end of the day.
Your 90-10 rule.
What about you, Brandon? Are there any decisions that you're going through right now? What are you trying to figure out with your teams?
I'm just trying to figure out the best lineup to put together possible to even have a remote chance. I mean, I barely squeezed into playoffs in Maine. Shout out 7. Thank you.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second?
I've lost
walk us through how this
straight.
happened.
So
walk us through how you made it into the playoffs for GSC Maine.
I had a great start.
It was crazy.
I was 6-4, dropped the last 4 games of the season, but thanks to my points 4,
6-2.
I got that. Finished the season 6-8, and yeah, I mean, I got lucky. I said it full blown on the podcast last week. I had 0 hope of actually making playoffs. I got lucky. I shout out 7. 7 beat Stefan, and the tiebreaker is points 4. And that's how I got my way in.
It was super wild the way that panned out. For those of you that are listening, check out our YouTube. Go back. You can get a little bit of personalism to these players. The episode is titled Drax Them's Clowns. He's War Daddy now. We're also talking about Thundercloud. The way that this panned out was Brandon and Stefan essentially both needed a win to get in, right?
Yeah.
But Brandon needed to score more points.
No, I was already ahead by I think I was up by 50 points, somewhere around there. Okay. Going into the league.
If you won, you were in. If Stefan won and you lost, he was in.
Yeah, exactly.
So essentially, 2 upsets this week gave you the playoff bid because of points 4.
Yep.
It's wild.
I've dropped 4 straight. I'm going into playoffs and I'm like
limping
in. My team is on E right now. I think the best game I've had over the last 4 weeks was this last week.
You're going up against the high scorer in our league.
Yeah.
I almost caught you, Cody. It was close. Almost caught you.
It was close. 90 points or something like that.
And I'm going against
not even
Cody this week. So
I closed it to 50.
Yeah.
To my 173 point week.
All I can do is hope Cody's team perform like he did this week.
Yeah, honestly, the underachiever of the week.
Only chance I have.
I'll let you guys know that I had kind of the opposite experience in the Pacific Northwest League. I was sitting at the 5 spot, and I had one game up on the two people behind me. One of the gals, shout out Kelso Babe. She pretty much did me in. She also beat me this year in the head-to-head. I had one game up. She had a tie on her record. All I needed to do was win. That's all I had to do. But if I lost, I needed her and this other guy to lose as well, and I would still be in. Fantasy football happened. Both of them won, and I lost. And I dropped from the 5 to the 8, missed the playoffs. 1 week, bud.
Damn.
And you were just like the second seed in Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago. Yep. So now I gotta hope for my wife to pull it out. She is the number 1 seed. She's got the bye, so
She's sitting.
I'm gonna keep
pretty
my
right
mouth
now,
shut
huh?
because obviously I don't know what I'm doing. So. Yeah, she's doing good. She's doing good, man. But I don't know. It is a stressful time of year, and when it comes to playoffs, I think that it is important to know your league and who you're playing, and maybe, if you've been playing in this league for a while, know some of the history of that league, because there are some telling factors, are there not?
Yes. Just taking a look at some of GSC Maine's history since we switched to Sleeper back in 2019. Looking at the history of the 4 versus 5, the 4 seed is 3-2. Looking at the history of the 3 versus 6, the number 6 seed is 3-2. So the 4 seed seems a little bit more better in the 4-5, and the 6 seed seems a little bit better in the 3-6 matchup. Cody, however, digging through some of the history, you've had 3 losses to 6 seeds.
Yeah. Thanks.
And as I was doing my digging in all of those,
one of them was mine.
So you've lost to the 6 seed in 3 out of 4 seasons of the last 5. So 1 year you did not make it.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
that 6 seed tends to kick you out, and I'm hoping to keep that train
Hey,
rolling.
At least I'm consistent, right? Give me that 3 seed, baby. I'm there.
One of which I think you were the 2 seed and you lost in the second round to the 6 seed.
Yeah, that was a few years ago.
That was 2021.
2021. Yep. Jordan's first championship, if I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mistaken.
I was just about to say that.
Yep.
And then something kind of crazy that stood out to me today as I was doing some of the history digging and, a little bit of that. The 1 seed in our league is 0-5 in round 2. They have not.
Shout out Stefan.
They have not managed to get past round 2 into the championship game. And then the 2 seed is 1-4 in the second round. The only person to win out of the 2 seed, myself. And that was last year.
Well, I'm gonna change the 1 seed narrative this year. We're gonna put that to 1-5 in the second round.
There you go. Well, and then looking at the 4 out of the last 5 championships are either the 4 or 5 seed. So looks like that's where a majority of our champions come from. We'll see what happens this year.
It sounds like next year only 4 teams need to make the playoffs, is what you're telling me.
I don't know how that'll go down with everyone in the league. You got to have it at 6 at least.
Hey, I actually, again, I was listening to fantasy football today, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this because Adam Azer shared something on their podcast that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to bring it to you just to get your opinion. I'm not saying we should do this. I'm not saying that this is right or wrong, but his leagues give an automatic playoff bid to the highest scoring team in the league in the regular season. So, we've all seen it, we've played in it, we've been there, we've experienced it. Your team is crushing it, but week in and week out, you lose to the second highest or the first highest scoring team. You're the second highest scoring team, right? We've all been there. Highest scoring team in the regular season gets an automatic bid to the playoffs. So in our league, it would be the 6th seed. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, are you talking highest points for team that doesn't make playoffs?
Correct. Yes. Let's say you're the highest scoring team, you go like 4-10.
Then who gets taken out of the playoffs?
Whoever's next up.
Well, I guess here's where the line kind of falls. What if you're the highest points for team and you're already in the playoffs? But like, this is where I'm trying to just draw where this is, because if I'm the highest points for team and I'm in playoffs, I'm going to stay where I'm
Then it just
But are
then
you
it just
talking like
rolls the way it
just the
is, I
highest
guess. I don't
points
know.
for team that isn't in playoffs?
Yes, correct. So no, so like if you're the highest scoring team and you just get shit on all year with
Okay,
horrible matchups,
gotcha.
you get an automatic bid to the playoffs.
See, and this is something I want to try and incorporate maybe into the Reaper next year. Is I want to do the league median in the Reaper league next year.
I agree, dude.
I want.
I agree. I don't think we should do it in GSC main because
No,
I
I
love
want
the
to do it
straight up
in the
competition.
Reaper. I want to do it in the Reaper. That's the one league I would put it in.
Dude, league median leagues they're fun.
I mean, we did one. I think all three of us did one last year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
The bros one.
Yep.
A small league.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for that. That would be. I want. That's I think something that I think we're gonna experiment within our experimental league, which is the Reaper League.
Here's how I look at this. And I guess I kind of dog walk you guys into this question, but I think that being the second highest scoring team and still taking an L, I look at that the way that Kansas City is 11-1 right now, or whatever they are. You gotta be lucky, man. You gotta get these games to roll your way, and if you don't, it is what it is. Period.
Yep.
Like I think it's an interesting concept, but if you're going to have a competitive league where people are paying to play and they're engaged and a league like ours where we've been playing together for a decade, sucks to suck, man. Like I know it sucks to be the highest scoring team and miss the playoffs, but
It is what it is.
and especially with ours too, because we have the divisions, which I think will be a topic of a conversation in the off season this year. But you gotta win to get in, man. Period.
Yep.
Look at the Bengals right now. They're putting up crazy points, and they've got 5 wins on the year. Like, come on. That's how I feel about it.
And the NFL don't get no favors to scoring a shit ton of points. Shouldn't
They
same
don't
with
give
fantasy.
any favors to anybody but the Chiefs. Let's turn this into a conspiracy theory podcast.
Taylor
It's
Swift.
all scripted. Taylor Swifted.
No, yeah,
Cody, I hope you lose this week and we continue your over streak against the 6 seeds. So, yeah, just some history
Brandon,
behind that. And I'm just going to implement it into your head every single day this week.
listen here, man. We were supposed to have a wager last time that we played, and we didn't do it.
Jordan, you're back. Where's your nails? Speaking of,
Oh, yeah. What the?
I had one nail painted. It's not any longer, but it was. This thumbnail was.
He's lying. That's a lie. For
was
those of you
black.
guys that are watching, do you see that? No.
I took a
Yeah,
Sharpie
that's a lie.
on Monday. That was the real reason I was sick, and that's why I faked actually getting my voice messed up and everything because I didn't want to paint one nail.
You know, one of my best friends in the world told me something a long time ago that I think will really resonate with you. He said, excuses don't make champions. Paint your fucking nails.
I ain't doing all. There was no bet on doing all of them. I'm too straight for that.
Okay. All right. Move
I'm gonna
along.
find.
We
I'm
shall.
going to find the like most elegant sparkled glitter in Kennedy's nail polish, and I'm gonna bring it to you.
I'll paint one now.
You know what I'm more excited about than the painted nails?
That
Honestly, if I don't win the championship this year and Jordan does, I can't wait to watch him get 90-10 tattooed on his chest.
Yeah. Or if you win,
Just
getting a
right here.
tattoo as well.
90-10, Ted. What's that about?
This is, hey, he's gaslighting us, Brandon. Don't buy into this. He's acting like he doesn't remember. It's on camera, Jordan. You can't get away from this.
I know, but what is it?
We said if you win it again, if you go back to back and get your third championship, you're going to get 90-10 tattooed on your chest
Yeah, and
or your ass. I don't care.
when it comes down to like when you're doing bets like these, it's got to be because all I have to do is put a little 90-10 and it could be a half an inch long. So
That's fine. I don't care.
I got some concepts for you. I'll send them over.
Maybe, how confident are you, Jordan, in your team this year? Because maybe we should have our listeners and our league vote on what this 90-10 should look like. How confident are you?
I'm not that confident to bet on putting a tattoo on my body that's going to be not of my choice. That's how confident I am.
I got some good mock-ups for you.
I'll
make you a deal
went for the size.
If you win this year,
We'll make some options.
The
Half
size.
inch, 1 inch, or 1.5 inch.
Yeah, I mean that's all right. I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to put a Thug Life Tupac across my chest 90-10. Yeah, see, like that'd be cool. Something like that. I don't know. Like I would do it just because that is my saying, and that's how fantasy football is, dude. Like it truly is. That's why.
Brandon coming in clutch. Yes.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
I love it.
I'm not that. I'm never confident going into the season that I'm for sure gonna. You never can be. Your team is.
And you shouldn't be confident now, man, because there's no way you're going back to back and getting your third championship. So
I don't know, man.
I guess we could just move on.
I think if you could swap me teams right now, you would. But
I certainly would. I certainly would.
But well, we'll move on from all the seed talk.
Oh, Jordan doesn't want to talk about that anymore.
We'll figure something out. I'll do a 90-10. That was on camera. I do remember that. But we'll move on to the games of the week. Some big games this week. Teams need wins like this. It's now or never for some of these teams, man. You don't win this week, this might be it for playoffs for some of these teams. So teams we already talked about, Bengals and stuff like that have slim to no hope. But you got those divisions like the NFC South, which is just, I think Carolina is still, I think they're still mathematically able to win that division somehow if everyone else loses out and they win out.
Trash division. So
It's kind of like the NFC or the NFC West, same thing. That's kind of up in the air with Seattle, Arizona, Rams, 49ers. That's I don't know. So you got a lot of teams that are still in the mix, even though they might have bad records. That division's still up for grabs. So you win the division, you're still in the playoffs. But with all that said, I'm not going with one of those trash games. I'm going to go with two top teams here. I'm going to go Steelers at Eagles. This is big for both teams for implications of trying to get the number one seed. Steelers are only 2 games behind the Chiefs, and the Steelers and Chiefs meet up on Christmas Day. Shout out to Netflix for ruining that for everyone. And then yeah, same with the Eagles, man. It's a big game. The Lions kind of falter down here. Any couple games, Eagles can get the number one seed. So this is a big game for both. It's an in-state game. I don't even feel like it's a rivalry as much, really. It's just everyone knows Eagles fans are kind of assholes, and I don't know. So we'll see, though. It's in Philadelphia. I know they're going to try to run the ball, obviously, a lot. Try to get it to Saquon, but Steelers defense is good this year. The run defense is good. So I think Jalen Hurts is going to have to win this game if the Eagles are to come out on top. But I'm taking the Steelers, man. I think they're rolling right now. I think Russ is just doing enough, and he's throwing when he has to. And that defense is they're looking really good, man. And get Pickens back. I think Pickens is huge to that offense. Obviously, it helps with that pass game. But I'm taking the Steelers.
I'm going to take the Eagles in that matchup.
that it?
I think Pickens is out, so I'm.
He's already ruled out again this week.
Yep.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Eagles. I do think the Eagles are going to have to throw the ball this week, especially after all the crap that just went down with AJ Brown and Jalen. But I think they'll get
Exactly
back.
what I was just going to say.
I think they're going to get back on track there. I think Jalen's going to have a good week connecting with AJ Brown, and yeah, I think that's going to be the way it goes there.
Jordan, I'm going to roll with you on this one. I'm going to take the Steelers, and I'm going to piggyback off of what Brandon just said. I agree that AJ Brown kind of made a stink of sorts for the Eagles, and I think I listened to Jim Rome and Bill Ryder, and I watch all of these social media pages and stuff. I think that is going to play a factor into the game plan for the Eagles, and I think they're going to get away from what they do best, and that's letting Saquon eat and letting Jalen eat, and they're going to start trying to force feed AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I think there's a lot of drama surrounding that team right now. A lot of people are surprised that they've rattled off 9 in a row. Give me the Steelers, dude. I like the Steelers. I think they're going to come in, upset them, and it's really going to throw a wrench into the plans for the Steelers or for the Eagles postseason.
What's your game of the week, Cody?
For me, I went Packers and Seahawks. This is another one that I think has a lot of implications on it because Packers had a tight one with the Lions, and I think they showed that they can play at that type of level. But I want to see them go on the road in Seattle in cold weather and throw the freaking ball, man. You can't. Josh Jacobs is going nuts, and I love it. If you're a fantasy owner of Josh Jacobs, good
Jordan.
for you. But
Jordan, very
you're
satisfied.
not gonna run your way to the Super Bowl like that. Jaden Reed last week
Dud.
with a big fat goose egg for anybody. I had him in 3 different leagues, man. One of them being the Pacific Northwest League that I got
Cody,
booted from.
you were texting about it because I asked you. I was like, who do you like? And you were like, oh, I like Jaden. And because I was like, do I play Jordan Love and Jaden? Or I don't remember what the other one was. But
Yeah, neighbors, D Hop. Yeah,
yeah, I had like Neighbors, D Hop, Jaden Reed, or and it was like pick two and
yeah,
sat D Hop, which
yeah.
not bad, but Jaden Reed putting up a dud did not help.
What I want to see in this game, because Seattle waltzed into Arizona and humbled the shit out of the Cardinals. I want to see them at home really give it to the Packers.
Good team.
You know what I mean? Let me see what Jordan Love can really do. Throw the ball. Obviously, I hope Josh Jacob does his thing, but show me that you belong up there. That the close game with the Lions wasn't a fluke. That's what I want to see. I think it's going to be a great game. I don't know that it's going to be super high scoring. I am going to take the Packers, but I think it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Jordan,
Yeah, I love Josh Jacobs the past couple weeks, obviously. Being an owner of him, he's done great. I obviously we're not in that locker room. We don't know what's going on, but I think that was probably a big talk with Jordan Love getting injured at the beginning of the season, him turning the ball over a lot. Probably a talk said, "Hey man, we brought this dude over to get the ball a lot. Let's get him the ball. We'll pass when you need to pass the ball." I think it might, this is just me speaking on it personally, but it might be Matt LaFleur so used to Aaron Rodgers not turning that ball over with him that he doesn't like Jordan Love turning that ball over because it just ruins the whole game plan. And they just want to control the ball, run the ball, throw when he needs to. Yeah, Jaden Reed, that was, I mean, I just feel that
Horrible.
like, for I even had Cortland Sutton on my point at one point on my team this year, and after he threw up 0 that one week, I dropped him, and he's been like the number 3 wide receiver since then. Huge mistake by me, but I was just so mad, like because it's like when you have a number 1 guy, how do you not get him the ball? I tell people last night, like I made so much money on Jamar Chase last night because I knew every drive Joe Burrow's going to throw him the ball. It doesn't care. Doesn't matter if there's 3 guys over him. He's throwing the ball to him. He's going to get the ball to him. It just you force it to your best guy. If it gets intercepted, oh well, their guy beat your guy. But throw it to your best guy. He's your playmaker. He's your number 1 guy. So I don't see that happening again for him. I think they're going to make it a point to get him involved, whether it's CeeDee Lamb, like how they use him with jet sweeps and try to get people involved in the game, at least get the ball in their hands. DJ Moore, short little passes, stuff like that. Let them run with the ball. I don't think the Seahawks, I don't know. I just don't see them doing anything for real. But like you said, they did hand it to Arizona this week. They're at home. Geno Smith, if he doesn't turn the ball over, man, they could run the ball, control the ball, and beat the Packers. But I think the Packers are good. I think there's 3 teams coming out of that NFC North making it to the playoffs this year. So I'm going to take the Packers.
Yep.
Geno Smith leads the league in pass yards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has since like week 4 or 5. He's been rolling it off. He's got a lot of interceptions, though. I bet he leads the league in red zone interceptions.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, and he likes to throw the ball instead of handing the ball to Kenneth Walker, but somehow they did with Zach Charbonnet last week. Let's put the backup in, and we're going to hand the ball off more than we have all year. We just don't like Kenneth Walker. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, good for him, but run the damn ball. Maybe that opened their eyes last week. So maybe Kenneth Walker's going to explode for 40 points for me in the championship against Cody.
Stop it.
Cody's got to get through the 6th seed, and he doesn't do that. So, yeah, I'm gonna roll with you boys. I like Green Bay in this matchup. I think just Green Bay's dominance over teams. I just don't really think Seattle has enough to really. I mean, does anyone know the spread in this game? Because I'm curious what it is. Let's see.
Can't be much.
I don't.
Spread is 3. I would gladly take Green Bay 3 -3. I'd take that all day. Um, I might even take it up to 4.5. I think Green Bay is going to dominate Seattle. So I'm gonna roll with Green Bay in this one. My game of the week this week, boys. Pretty big game, I think, at the top of the board. I'm gonna roll with. I think this is really the highlight game of the week outside of Pittsburgh and Philly, which is going to be Buffalo and Detroit. Um, Buffalo needs a win. Detroit needs a win, otherwise they're tied with the Eagles for the 1 seed. So some big implications here for both teams. Buffalo loses, they drop to the 3 seed possibly, depending upon the outcome with the Eagles and Steelers. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. I
love this time of year.
I think this is a bounce back game. I mean, it is in Detroit, but I think Josh Allen exposes the Detroit defense this week. They're injured. I think Josh Allen goes off and has another big week.
I don't know if I can argue that, man. I think I said it before earlier this season. I'm all aboard the Detroit hype train, man, but I don't know if I can argue anything that you said. I think
Detroit's just too injured, and I think in a game
their defense is wrecked.
Yeah, their defense is destroyed right now, and I think Josh Allen just is going to absolutely just rip them to shreds.
I agree. Give me the Bills.
Damn.
Going with Detroit now.
You both went Buffalo. I don't know. I was thinking the whole time you guys were talking, like, who'd even pick in this game? And I mean, it's tough. Yeah, like, I mean, it's hard not to see Josh Allen not having a big game. I don't know, man. I just think the Lions, there's something about them this year with Gibbs and Montgomery. Jared Goff, looks like a top 5 QB. I don't know. They look really good. I think they're going to make enough plays. I'm going to take Detroit at home in this one. Something about Dan Campbell, something about that team. Like, I don't care for Detroit, but man, I wouldn't mind Detroit if they won the Super Bowl this year. I think a lot of people in this football nation and country wouldn't mind if that happened for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. Be close, but we're gonna go with Detroit.
We gonna get another 80-point game from the Bills like we did this last week, because the Rams kind of made them look silly on defense.
Yes, they did. That's what I'm saying with Detroit.
Amon-Ra going off for 2 touchdowns,
Jameson,
150 yards,
big catches.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I mean, if anyone's going to have a big week, it's going to be Amari Cooper, please. Need it.
Amari Cooper, please, he said. I love it. Well, guys, Brandon, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we start closing this thing out?
If you're in playoffs, congratulations. If you're not, there's always next year.
See you next year. Cool. All right.
Cody?
That's it for me, guys.
Well, boys, I know college football bracket just got announced. think we're gonna post a bracket challenge within the club, so keep your eyes out on that. We'll get that rolling here this week, so you guys can get kind of your picks in. And with it being the inaugural year of kind of this bigger bracket for the college football playoff, be kind of fun to do. See what happens. So keep your eyes out on socials for that. Got a cool little piece of content dropping today. So be sure to go check out that on the socials at Get Sunday Covered. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our pages if you haven't already. Be sure to hit us up to always get your guys' Sundays covered. Till next week, peace.
Later.
Peace.